I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
This is the Virtual Real Estate Investor Podcast with Vincent Polisi. Buckle your seatbelt and prepare to learn how to legally make six figures investing in real estate with no money, no credit check, and nothing but a computer and internet connection. Learn how you too can begin generating buyers and sellers for free today. And why you're only 2 calls away from making a $10,000 or more payday while never leaving the comfort of your home. And now, your host, the virtual real estate investor, Vincent Polisi.
So, I want to welcome you guys to the $1 Million Wholesaling Blueprint live version. And what we're going to do, for those of you who have not maybe watched, watched the initial webinar, I'm going to go ahead through and recover very quickly what was in the initial webinar itself so that we can bring everybody up to speed before we get into today's actual training, which is going to be a little different than probably what most of you are used to. All right. So what are we talking about here? Most of you guys have seen these wholesaling courses that are out there, and from everyone I've ever personally seen, most of them are not put together very well. There's a whole lot of information that's missing, a whole lot of information that's incorrect, that's lacks legal basis, contract structures and clauses that are completely fraudulent and illegal. And so in doing this, what I wanted to do was put together, I've never put together an actual wholesaling course before, but what I wanted to do was put together the right one, okay? The one and only that you would ever need. That's not only going to encompass what you need for actual deals, okay? To do actual deals, 2, 3, 4 a month, plus even more than that if you scale it properly, but also to show you what nobody else has showed you, which is how to generate multiple streams of income from a wholesaling strategy, okay? And that's something I've never seen anybody do before, which to me is idiotic, but that's just the way they sell most of these stupid courses that are out there, okay? If you understand what wholesaling is, and we're going to clarify that real quick here. What is wholesaling? What wholesaling actually means, the actual definition is, it is an investor-to-investor sale, which means that you actually have to do a double close. It is not contract assignments, which is the way that most wholesaling is pitched and shilled. We're going to cover contract assignments anyway, because despite my best efforts, I have yet to be able to kill the whole wholesaling terminology as it relates to contract assignments, because it doesn't relate to contract assignments at all. They're two entirely different contract structures, two entirely different ways to book the income, two entirely different exit strategies, but somewhere along the line, I don't know where it was or who it was, somebody got the term wholesaling out there. Now everybody that gets into the business thinks that doing a contract assignment is wholesaling. It is not technically, legally, from an IRS perspective, none of the above. Okay, so understand what the difference is. We're going to cover both so you guys understand, because obviously as a real estate investor, you want to be a full spectrum real estate investor, not a one-trick pony, which is what most people are. So I'm going to cover both aspects, both contract structures, both exit strategies, how the income gets booked, all the different things that you can do, as well as how to generate multiple streams of income from a wholesaling business, okay? So before we begin, here's the ugly truth. Like I said, this is all covered in the webinar I did previously, but I'm going to burn through this initial stuff fast so we can get to the actual tutorial for today. The ugly truth, okay, and you don't have to take my word for this. You can look in Facebook group after Facebook group after Facebook group is that 98% of real estate investors fail when they first get started, okay? And there's a very good reason for that. For those of you who have not been around and not paying attention or whatever, basically what ends up happening is people are sold the dream. They get sold on these courses that, you know, like I said, they're loaded with things that just are not accurate. They're loaded with things that are factually incorrect, that are, quite frankly, moronic most of the time. And so it's imperative to always do your due diligence, even with anything that I'm telling you, to make sure that the information that you're getting is correct, that it's legal, that it's factual, and that you personally have verified it, as opposed to relying on some internet celebrity guru that you think is the guy just because he or she may have some large following or fan base or a bunch of bobbleheads that, you know, love everything they say. Because I watch these guys teach people over and over again to do fraud, and they have a massive fan base. Well, guess what? A lot of these guys will help you make money very quickly, by doing things illegally, okay? And so you need to understand that for what it is, all right? They teach all kinds of stuff, and as we get into the fraud, things you need to be aware of, there are, when you hear all these things about ghost ads and you hear these things about the weasel clauses and, not or setting up your contract structures so that you don't have to put money down at the title company, all of this stuff that's out there, it's all total illegal fraud, okay? Now, there are variants of ways that you can structure clauses so that it's not that way, but if the intent out of the gate is to not close on an assignment deal, if you can't find an assignee, then that's fraud. Just let's call it what it is, okay? And the reason they do this is because most of these guys are completely incompetent. What they ended up doing was they were never actually real estate investors to begin with. They took somebody else's course. They made some money. And that course most of the time was totally incompetent as well. Made some money, and then they started immediately selling that exact same structure and core structure to other people like you. So you need to vet everything and everything anybody tells you, all right? And this is one of the biggest reasons why 98% of the people fail, because they are not given realistic expectations, and they are given, most of the time, completely incompetent methodologies by which to do business that really don't work. All they do is they stand to line the pockets of the guy selling the course. So in this arena, what happens is they get unbelievably frustrated. Just get on any real estate Facebook group and you see it time and time again. But the guy selling the course, he's making money and he doesn't care, right? He doesn't care about you. All he's concerned about is making more money. Now, let me be honest, I'm not here for philanthropy. I'm here to make money as well. But at the same time, I don't need to hurt you, and I don't need to tell you things that are illegal and completely fraudulent in order to do that. I can tell you the truth, which is one of the reasons why most people, follow me, is because they actually get to hear things set up in such a way that they can verify what it is that I'm telling them and verify the accuracy of the information. Okay? So I'm telling you guys once again to do that, all right? You don't have to do it that way to make money consistently and in large volumes, okay? You don't have to commit fraud. You don't have to lie to sellers. You don't have to do all the stuff that you're told to do in these stupid courses to be able to make money consistently in large volumes. What you need is what we're putting together for you right now, which is the ultimate guide, okay? You need a strategy on exactly how to get started and how to make money as quickly as humanly possible the right way, okay? The sustainable way, the way that it's also going to help you generate multiple streams of income. So the problem is most of you are wanting to get a business up and running and going, and most people, they want to buy some bright, shiny object course to help them get there, thinking that, and I'm just going to be honest with you because I've seen this for years and years and years. Most of the time what happens is people believe that if they pay money for a course, that all of a sudden what they've done is they bought an annuity that pays out $10,000 plus per month without them having to do any work, okay? That is not the case, especially not the case with, number one, with any business, but number two, if you're going to go into an actual wholesaling business, okay? So you need to understand what the solution is. Now, I'm here to fix all of the misnomers, all of the mistruths, all the misguided perceptions that are out there, so you can understand that you can build a highly lucrative business that is scalable, okay? That you can, turn into a, printing press, but it's going to take work, all right? And you need to be, aware of that right out of the gate, okay? It's called luck, laboring under correct knowledge, okay? What's the first word? Laboring. You're going to have to work if that's what you want to do. Now, the best way to do it, whether you're first starting out or whether or not you already have an active real estate business or whether you're doing wholesaling or contract assignments, whatever, it doesn't make a difference, is through what's called vertical integration. Okay, if you guys don't know what vertical integration is, we're going to cover that here in a second. It's also through the generation of multiple streams of income, which is what vertical integration is going to do for you, as opposed to the standard model where, let me give you an example. If you're doing conventional wholesaling where you're buying a property and then you're double closing and you're selling it to another investor, you have one stream of income, right? You have a lot of expenses and a lot of risk, but then you only have one stream of income, and that happens on the day of closing when you actually close with the guy buying the property from you. Doing contract assignments, same exact thing, right? You contract on the property, purchase it or option or whatever, and then you assign that contract and you get paid an assignment fee one time, all right? The problem with that model from a longevity standpoint is it's called one and done, right? You do a deal, and then you get paid, and that's it. And then every single month you're starting from ground zero once again. There is no additional stream of revenue that's coming in to help get you through while you're in between closings. Okay, and this is the biggest thing, the biggest problem that most people have, especially if they're new. Well, most of the people, whether they're new or not, it doesn't make a difference. Is that they're not, they haven't been educated on pipeline management, and as a result, they end up in a scenario where they don't have enough deals in the pipeline. And so they're struggling to survive in between transactions, okay? You don't want to be in that position. What you want to do is you want to have consistent income coming in through multiple streams of income while you're in between closings in the event that you have what's called fallout. And you're going to have fallout, unfortunately, okay? Everybody does, even me. It doesn't matter how good you are. Every deal that you work on is not going to close, unfortunately. That's a sad fact, right? So what is vertical integration? Basically, vertical integration is end to end. What that means is that you're going to be making money all throughout the process from every possible revenue stream that there is, as opposed to being a one-trick pony. That is not what you want to do. This is the fastest way to get crushed in any business, but especially in real estate investing, okay? So you're going to wear a lot of different hats. You're not just going to wear the traditional wholesaler hat or the traditional real estate investor hat. You're going to wear a lot of different hats. You're going to get a lot of education, and you're going to have your fingers in a lot of pies. That's what you want to do, all right? So here's how it works. Instead of just wholesaling, right, you're going to be a jack of all trades, right? That's what you want to do. But the thing with the jack of all trades is, if you guys have heard the expression before, jack of all trades, master of none, that's not what you're going to do, right? What you're going to do is you're going to be a master of all of them because you're a professional, right? You're serious. You're not one of these ham and eggers that are out there, right? And so what is it going to take? It's going to take development, learning, training, education, growth, skill, knowledge, goals, scaling. You're going to actually run a business, okay? And in doing so, you're going to constantly step up your knowledge and your education, okay? So let's break it down. But first, here's the most important thing that you must do. You must think bigger. If you're only thinking about doing 1, 2, 3, 4 deals a month, you've got to think bigger. If you're only thinking about assignment fees on those 2, 3, 4 deals, you've got to think bigger because there's a whole lot more out there than, and here's the bigger problem. You're eventually going to burn out. I'm just going to tell you, okay? The traditional thing where you're one and done, you're going to burn out because it gets old, and it gets old very, very quickly, all right? Regardless of what strategy you end up using. It gets old fast. So basically how it works is this. From a vertical integration standpoint, we're looking at every potential revenue stream that we can get by interacting with a deal. So you have the wholesaler aspect, right, which is you doing contract assignments or you doing double closes or whatever, where you're going to make the assignment fee or you're going to make the profit on the sale. I normally would not be an advocate of this, but for this particular model, getting your real estate license absolutely makes sense because now what that offers you the opportunity to do is it gives you the ability for what is called the alternative choice close. Now, what does that mean? What that means is that when the traditional wholesaler goes out there, okay, they're trying to do everything has to fit in one little box. So if it doesn't fit in the traditional assignment box or the traditional wholesaler box, then what they've done is they've wasted money on marketing. They've wasted time and energy trying to put a deal together, only to have the whole thing blow up in their face. You don't want to be in that scenario. In the event that somebody is not down with your offer of 60 to 70% of after repair value, which a lot of times they're not going to be because this is a numbers game, then you want the ability to be able to back up and punt and have another opportunity to make money, and you can do that through a listing, okay? So the way that breaks down just real quick, and I'll show you how this works in real life, is depending on the deal, what you can do is, hey, Mr. Seller, I can pay cash and close within 10 days if I can get the property at 70% of after repair value, right? Or option B, I can pay 100%. Pay 100% of your asking price, 100% of the value of the property if I can get the property on owner finance terms, okay, which would be obviously no money down. And then you'd be, and it depends on whether or not this is a scenario that requires a lot of rehab or not. But you have the ability then, that's the alternative choice. I can pay you 70% cash in 10 days. I can pay you 100% if I can get owner finance terms, right? Your price, my terms. Or Alternatively, number 3, if neither of those work for you, then I can list the property for you, and then you can pick up an extra 3 to 6%. Okay. So which one do you want? Not do you want, this is where the assumptive clause comes in. It's not do you want one, it's which one do you want, right? And so that's the only reason that I would advise the thing with a realtor. Now, obviously, having a realtor's license makes things a little bit easier as it relates to, well, supposedly as it relates to the MLS. I've had realtors give me their access over the years, time and time again, where I could go through the MLS and see all the stuff, and I didn't have to be a realtor to do that. But from that perspective, that's also another thing when you're looking at expired listings and things like that. Those can be fantastic opportunities. All right. So next up in your tool set, you want to have the ability to be a rehabber yourself. Okay. So if you get a sweetheart deal that comes along that has a tremendous amount of profit and upside, you want to have the skills to not have to flip that out to somebody else and be able to pick up not only what you would have made on the flip, but also what they're going to make after the rehab, which is probably on the average deal another 30,000 plus. Okay. So you want to be able to get those skills. You're going to have to get most of these skills anyway, because you're going to have to be able to price out repairs. And once you have the ability to price out repairs and you understand that stuff, even if you're not a general contractor, you can hire a general contractor to come in and actually do the rehab. You don't actually have to do the rehab, do the GC work or anything else. Okay, you can be the quote unquote rehabber, but really be the guy in control, which is really what you want to be anyway. All right. Next up, property manager. That's also going to fall under your real estate license because it's going to give you the ability with. Now think about this. Some of these rehabbers that are out there that you're flipping out to give you the ability with them to make money off of running the properties for them. Another scenario where that works exceptionally well is when you're doing turnkey deals. Okay, and when I talk about a turnkey deal, what I'm referring to is that where you go in and your deal is one that you've rehabbed. Okay, where you're selling to an investor who's looking to he's got money in an SDI IRA or something like that, and he's looking to make another 10 to 12%. And he's going to buy the property from you, but he may not even be in the state, and he doesn't want to deal with the management aspect of it. And he's going to rent you're going to rent the property out, and then you handle the management fee, and you collect your 10% of whatever the rental income is as well. All right. Next up, being your own cash buyer. Why we say, well, I don't have the cash to be a cash buyer. Well, you only think you don't because you don't know how and where to get the cash to be a cash buyer, because you don't have to actually physically have to have the cash. You just have to have the ability to get the cash. And that's very easy to do with, like I said, these SDIRA buyers who, real estate isn't necessarily their expertise. And what they're wanting to do is they're wanting to pick up, 10, 12% interest. And they're willing to provide you the cash to be able to do that. Okay, and then if they can turn it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a year, you could be the cash buyer. Nobody has to know it's not your cash, but you're working in concert with somebody that actually physically has the cash and you're paying a return. Okay, it's also, you can do this with like syndication deals as well. Because those of you that know Grant Cardone, he buys a lot of these apartment complexes. Well, he's a syndicator on a great many of them, meaning it's not his cash that's actually going in the deal, or a large majority of his cash is not going into the deal. He's syndicating out parts of it where he comes off as the buyer and the guy with money under management, or not money under management, but assets under management. And the money's actually coming from people like you. Okay. He's got a bunch of people that cough up cash so that they can be in a deal with Grant Cardone, and he's making money, everywhere. He's making multiple streams of income everywhere along the way through the syndication process, through property management, through the disposition process, through the whole 9 yards. Okay. So again, we talk about thinking bigger. You don't want to be the little guy, the little peon guy, whatever, at the very bottom. You want to think bigger and understand that if you're looking at this from a standpoint of a business and a career, you've got to understand where it is that you're headed. And that's hopefully what this is going to show you. Next up is joint venture partners. Okay. You can make a ton of money working on joint venture partner deals. Well, yes, you don't make 100%. Who cares? Right? People ask me that all the time, like, why do you work with joint venture partners? Well, I don't need to make 100% on every deal because I don't have to do 100% of the work. But if I can have 100 people bringing me deals, that's more than I would ever personally be able to do on my own. And all I have to do is my area of expertise, which is come in and negotiate the deal. Okay. And make sure, ramrod it to make sure that it gets finalized. I don't have to do all the grunt work and marketing and pre-qualifying and all that kind of stuff. I just pick up the phone, have a conversation with somebody and put the deal together and make money. Okay. So a lot of money can be made from that. And then the ultimate thing here, once you've gotten there, and I'm going to say this from a standpoint of a place of integrity, once you've gotten educated, okay, I'm talking about genuinely educated, and you have experience, and you have knowledge, and you can come from a place of integrity, and you have documented results, obviously. Then at that point in time, you want to go into the coach/mentorship role where you can sell coaching and courses and that kind of thing. This is the outline of your plan right here. Okay, you talk about the blueprint. I mean, this is it. You should move from step to step to step to step to step, and eventually you've got multiple streams of income coming from everything that it is that you're doing, and that's exactly where you want to be. All right, so let's talk about the money. Where's the money coming from? All right, contract assignments, double closes, JVP deals, rehabs personally and as a DFY service. DFY means done for you. That would be your turnkey deals that you're selling to other investors, right? Owner finance deals via the alternative choice close. Listings, okay, through the real estate license. Rentals, okay, property management. Portfolio sales, where you're doing these in bulk packages. And then eventually courses and coaching. This is the roadmap that you should be looking at if you are going to be a quote-unquote wholesaler, okay? Shouldn't be to be the one-trick pony. It should be like, look, this is the direction that I'm going to go in, so that I can have multiple streams of income and vertical integration, and I don't have to go outside for anything other than potentially title work. Okay, and that's really where you want to be. I know, seems like a lot, right? Right? But that's why you need a mentor. That's the whole purpose of what we're doing here today, is to provide you the blueprint, the path, the direction, the kick in the butt, and the ramrod to help you get exactly where you need to be, okay? You need an outline and a blueprint and a plan, and that's what most of these courses do not provide for you. And they certainly don't provide you one like this, because most of them haven't thought through the process and haven't done it. That doesn't mean nobody has, but I've never seen it, okay? So what those of you that actually signed up for the course are going to get is comprehensive training on how to wholesale legally, and with the emphasis on the word legally. All right, how to generate more motivated sellers. I hate to use that term, motivated sellers, because all sellers are motivated. You just got to find the motivation. But nonetheless, how to generate more of those. My actual contracts, right, where you're not worried about, all of the fraud nonsense that these clowns bake into these things, and they tell you to do all kinds of crazy stuff like put the weasel clauses in, the contingency clauses, where your intent going in really is not to close unless you can find a way out. You can have that clause in there, but it has to be done correctly, and most of them are not done correctly. They're done with fraudulent intent, and that's why you don't put money down at the time of contract execution with the title company and all that, and pull the titles and everything else until you find an assignee or a buyer, and that's not the way you do it, okay? For those of you doing assignments, this is the big one, okay? How to get paid at the time of the assignment. People like to argue with me about this all the time. Professional investors get paid at the time of the assignment, not some future closing that you may or may not be a party to. Okay, well, let me rephrase that. Not some future closing that you're not a party to. Because on an assignment deal, you've already assigned all right, title, and interest in the deal and the property. There, you have no business being at a closing or appearing on a HUD. Period, end of story. Jonah Wilson actually listened to me on this, and that's what he actually posted like 2 days ago on a deal he made $11,000 on, where he got paid his assignment free up front. Okay, and that's the way it's done. That's the way I've done every assignment I've ever done. Boom. As soon as that hits the paper, that's when I get paid right then. Okay, show you how to do all of that. All right, how to immediately double your production and profits. A lot of that comes through vertical integration. All right, how to get more qualified cash buyers. We're actually going to cover that today, as a matter of fact. So for those of you who stick around to the end, you're going to see exactly how to get more qualified cash buyers today, okay, that you can get today. And then how to access and leverage OPM, other people's money. In other words, how to raise capital. The reason that's important is because you're going to, if you're doing this actively, proactively as a business, you're going to want to have access to capital so that when you come across these sweetheart deals, you don't lose them because you can't close in 10 days or you don't have the funds for doing a rehab or whatever. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. It's very simple. But you're going to have to get educated on how to do it. For those of you who don't know, this is me, you're talking to, personally raised over $1 million. Okay, think about this now. $1 million, over $1 million in liquid capital wired directly to my bank account, non-recourse. Okay, non-recourse. You guys know what non-recourse means? Non-recourse means that no personal guarantees, nothing like that, and wired directly into my account. Now, how was I able to do that? Well, you're going to learn how. Okay? You're going to learn exactly how I did that because I'm going to show you what I did and what I had to do that. Okay? But wait, there's more. There's our ShamWow guy. How to do rehabs without being a rehabber, right? How many of you guys could make more money if you could rehab properties but didn't have to be a rehabber and didn't have to use your own money? Not that hard. How to set up turnkey deals for monthly cash flow. This is a big one. That's what a lot of the REITs and hedge funds do. Again, talk about thinking bigger. How to never lose a deal. How to structure owner finance deals, right? How to get JVPs to bring you deals. How cool would it be if you had people bringing you deals every day like I do? Can you imagine that? Think about that for a second. All the rest of these guys that are out there, you guys need to understand how this actually functions, all right? Everybody else has to spend money, all right, on marketing to generate deals, to generate leads, to do all of those things, right? People pay me so they can bring me deals. You see how that works out? See the reverse? I always like to try to reverse what everybody else is doing. So I have what is called the blue ocean, okay? Everybody else is paying for marketing to generate deals, right? I have people paying me so they can bring me deals. That's where you want to be, all right? In my opinion, personally. It's number one, it's a lot more economical, and number two, it's a lot easier and a lot faster to make money that way. All right? How to structure portfolio sales. You guys don't know what portfolio is. We'll cover that later. How to profit from courses and coaching. That's easy enough. How you see a lot of people do that all day, every day. And if you aren't in that mindset, you need to think through the process of what you're doing, because the education, the knowledge, the wisdom, the experience that you're going to be developing has a monetary value. Now, I'm going to tell you specifically, do not do what most of these people do. Okay. And here's a real life example. I had a guy come in. Guy was literally on food stamps. Okay. I'm not even joking with you. I'm not putting anybody down on food stamps. I've been through bankruptcy and all kinds of stuff. So trust me, I get hard times and all that. But literally on food stamps, when he comes in and asks me and gives me the sob story to try to help him get a deal done for free without him paying, because he didn't have the money because he had a wife and kids and everything. And so we helped the guy do a deal and ends up making 18 grand. I think it was 18 or 19 grand on the deal. And now he's, on top of the world because you never made that kind of money on a deal before. And literally within 90 days was broke again because he didn't follow pipeline management, didn't have another deal behind it. And so the obvious answer was, I don't have any money, so let me go start selling courses and be a guru. I'm not even kidding with you. Okay. And that's what people do. That's why you got to be real careful about who you're listening to and what they're pimping on Facebook. All right. You're going to get access to a buyer's list, access to the private Facebook group, weekly group coaching sessions, and live deal structuring help, all by me, all right? Now, this is important for most of you. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. That is not what you want to do, all right? For those of you who haven't seen this, I don't know, this is where the course is located. You can write that down real quick. I'm going to give you a second. For those of you that are on this thing to the end, if once you see the training today, it's something that you feel like you want to be a part of. I've had a couple of people overnight, because we end these things at midnight, asking if they could pay today. So I'm going to extend it through to you today only, so that you can sign up for this if that's what you decide that you want to do. All right. Now let's get started. Here's how it works. We're going to do bite-sized, step-by-step instructions that literally anybody can follow. Okay. Each tutorial is going to have 3 simple steps that can be implemented immediately. And you're going to get the first one today, right now. Okay. It is going to be progress-based training. And I'll explain to you what that means here in a second. We're also going to have weekly masterminds, and as well as a private Facebook group for deal structuring and working together in collaboration as opposed to competition. Now, here's what most courses do, all right? And this is a huge mistake from the standpoint of where you guys are starting out at. They have you drink from a fire hose, and they have you drink from a fire hose for a reason. You guys understand what I mean by drink through a fire hose? What I mean by that is that they want to overload you with all kinds of information right out of the gate, and this is all by design. They want to give you all of this minutia and data and just, garbage overload, even if it's good information, even if it's accurate. And that is not the way for you to make money quickly, okay? What's the reason that they do this? I'm going to explain to you what it is right now. For those of you who haven't done courses and coaching, what they're trying to do is they're trying to overload you, okay? They're trying to give you so much data, so much information, so much minutia that it's too much, all right? And as a result of doing that, what ends up happening is most people stagnate and they take no action because they get overwhelmed. But here's the purpose of what they're doing. Okay, for those of you guys who don't understand it. Most of them offer like a 30-day money-back guarantee, right? You have an opportunity to get a refund in the first 30 days, but they put a catch in there, which to a certain extent I agree with. I will tell you this. I will agree with this to a certain extent. They put the catch in there that it's predicated off of you doing very specific tasks during that 30-day period. And that part I agree with. I don't agree with the way what they're telling you to do, which I'm going to show you why here in a second, and what they're having you do, because it's totally backwards. But that's the purpose. The purpose is to avoid refunds. It's not to help you. Okay, it's to overload you and overwhelm you when what you really need to do is be focused on actionable items that you can that you can implement right now today that are truly the fastest path to cash. Okay, but it gets even worse. Okay, and this is the thing that frustrates me to no end when I see some of this stuff. They overload you with time-wasting minutia that's out of sequence as it relates to you making money. Okay, you guys understand what I'm talking about, right? Let me explain this so it makes sense. You don't need to learn everything there is to know about wholesaling real estate before you take action to make money. In other words, you don't need to learn about all the contracts, all the contract clauses. You don't need to understand the MAO formula, the Mayo formula, whatever you guys call it. You don't need to understand all the different marketing components and pieces and sales scripts. And you don't need to understand any of that stuff to take action and implement to start making money immediately. And it's a monumental mistake, okay? What you need to do is you need to be provided with the actual steps that are necessary so that you can take immediate action on well-documented, proven steps that generate revenue, okay? And that is not what they have you do. What they have you do is waste all kinds of times with websites and PropStream and all these other things that they're not putting you in a position of where you need to be, which is talking to buyers and sellers. Okay, that's where you need to be immediately, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. Okay, that's what we are absolutely going to do today. You do not need A to Z. Right? A lot of people, unfortunately, that are attracted to real estate investing happen to be what this profile calls analyticals, or what the bulls, owls, lambs, and tigers call owls, okay? High analyticals. Analyticals are attracted to real estate investing because of the numbers and the data and, the processes and all of these things. They're attracted to it. Unfortunately, most of them don't succeed because when you're in this particular arena of real estate investing, there's a tremendous amount of personal one-on-one sales that has to happen, okay? Your closing ability, unless you're just strictly going to make it a numbers game and churn out offer after offer after offer after offer, like the old Carlton Sheets method. You guys know who Carlton Sheets is. I had his cassette course back in and his booklets and all that stuff back in, I want to say 1990. And, he laid out the whole plan and his stuff worked. It still works today. For this type of thing, his whole argument was, you can get properties at 50% of fair market value, and you're going to send out 100 contracts to get one accepted. And sending out those extra 99 offers is a lot of work, but once you get that one accepted at 50%, it's all worth it, right? And that was basically the argument for that particular type of platform. Plus, he had back then, you could walk from a closing with cash back, and there was all kinds of crazy stuff that we were doing. But you don't need all of that stuff. There's a famous quote, take the first step in faith, right? You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. And that's what you need to do today, right? To make money quickly, you don't need A to Z, you need 1, 2, 3, right? Three little things that you can do today that are going to get you headed in the direction of making money, because that's the whole point of what we're doing here. The whole point is not for you to waste the next several weeks digesting volume after volume of minutia because I got bad news for you. You're never going to know everything, okay? And what most people do is they're waiting to know everything before they take action and before they move forward on making money, okay? Analyticals especially, okay? They like to digest and crunch and go back and all this stuff. And I'm not putting down analyticals, okay? What I'm saying is that's the personality type. That's not the fastest way to make money. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. All right, so wholesaling, step 1. Okay, and you're never going to see this in any other course because that's not what they teach you, because what they're trying to do is get you bogged down with a bunch of junk right out of the gate. Okay. Step one, very simple. You've got to determine your markets, right? So where are your markets? Where are they going to be? Right? Now, the next question that you need to ask yourself is, are you going to work local, virtual, or both? Because you can do exactly what I'm going to show you how to do here, locally and virtually, or both combined. All right? So everybody write this down. Step one, what are your markets going to be? You're going to do markets in your backyard, build what I call the backyard business. Is that what you're going to do? Or are you going to have a bigger mind and say, okay, you know what, I can scale this a whole lot faster if I do things virtually where I'm not tied to a local micro market that may be inundated and overwhelmed, or maybe a red ocean with unbelievable amounts of competition. And it's not necessary for you to have competition, okay? You just need to open your horizons up a little bit and understand that you are not trapped in whatever your local market is as it relates to doing real estate deals. I've done real estate deals all over the United States. I've done deals for the last, 12, this just on real estate investing deals, since 2007. So what is that, 13 years, with people I've never met, homes I've never been to, states I've never been to, never going to go to, made money hand over fist with nothing but what I call keystrokes and sound waves. Keystrokes on the keyboard, and sound waves, it's me talking on the phone, right? Never seeing properties, never going to closings, never doing any of those things. It's not necessary. So understand that. Now, you have to pick your own path. I'm not here to tell you what that's going to be and what works for you. What works for me is doing things 100% virtual, because I don't have to be there. I don't have to waste a bunch of time, and I can basically run the business from a smartphone, other than when I generate a contract, which obviously it's a lot easier to do on a computer. Okay. All right. Once you've determined your markets, so everybody, step one, determine your markets. In your mind right now, what market are you going to go into? Market or markets are you going to go into? Write it down. That's step one. Don't move on, okay, until you've determined what your market's going to be. And there's a reason that we're doing it in this order, okay? Step two, determining what a deal is. This is where most people go off half-cocked, because these stupid courses are going to tell you to go out there and start sending out bandit signs, yellow letters on postcards and all this other stuff. And then people start calling in and you start making offers, but you don't even have any idea what a deal is. That's because they're telling you to do everything completely backwards, right? You've got to determine what a deal is, okay? As Tony Robbins said, you can't hit a target if you don't know what it is. So what do professional investors do? Okay? Let's talk about that. What do professional investors do? We go buyer first, right? And we sell before we buy. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. Everything else is going to tell you to go inventory first. In other words, go contract on a property. Now you have something that you can sell. Okay. That's backwards. It's wrong. Don't do it. Okay. I'm just telling you right now, don't do it. Don't even waste time, because all you're going to do is waste time, energy, money. And then you're going to put yourself in a position in many cases where you have to do, one of these back out deals where you got to pull, try to pull the weasel claws on them because you can't close, because you can't find a buyer, because you didn't know what a deal was and you didn't have any buyers lined up. It's much easier, faster, more efficient, more fun, everything to go buyer first. So what does that mean? We're going to go talk to buyers today, right? I'm going to show you where to find them right now today. I'm going to tell you exactly what to say to them. You guys got to write this stuff down, right? We're going to go buyer first, because until we know what a buyer's going to buy, we have no idea what a deal is. People ask me, well, hey, tell me, what does a deal look like to you? And as a professional investor, I have no idea. I don't have any idea until I find the person that I'm going to sell or assign to. I have no idea what a deal looks like, because it's not a deal for me. It's what is a deal for them. That's where the money's coming from. So we're going to start with the end in mind, and the end in mind, this would actually be step one. But in order to get to this as step one, you got to figure out what your markets are first. That way you know where the buyers are at, okay? Where to find the buyers, in other words, is what I'm saying. I actually had this as step one, and I was like, well, they can't do that if they don't know what markets they're working, so figure out the markets first, and then this is really, to me, step one, period, okay? You got to find the buyers first. You've got to understand what a deal is. You've got to understand what the dynamics are, what's not a deal, what's a deal killer. If you don't understand that up front, all you're doing is wasting time. And then as far as sell before you buy, it's very simple. Wholesaling is a little different if you're doing double closes and that kind of thing, as it is on like when we do owner finance sandwiches and that kind of stuff, because we actually do sell before we buy, before we have any kind of commitment for money. On an actual wholesale deal, the way that would work here would be you're going to find the buyer, so you know exactly what a deal looks like, right? And then once you have something that matches their criteria, there's a couple different ways that you can structure agreements on there that don't have you committed. You can option the property, so you're not committed to buying until you have sold the property, okay? And for those of you that are worried about some stuff, that's a fantastic way to go. We'll get you the scripts on exactly how to handle that with the seller too, because it's easy once you understand how to do it. But that way you don't have to get in these scenarios, these uncomfortable scenarios where you got to backpedal, you got to lie, you got to commit fraud to tell somebody that you're not going to close because of some BS clause in the contract, when the reality is that you didn't know what a deal was and you didn't have a buyer and a signee lined up. Okay, it's not necessary, right? So now we have to locate buyers in the market or markets that we are targeting. How do we do that? Does anybody know? Anybody have any ideas? Anybody have any ideas? I mean, the fastest, easiest way to do it, how would I do it? We're talking about wholesale buyers now, okay? It's very simple. It's called Facebook, right? Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if we go on Facebook, I got stuff in the way. I can't see the browser. All right, we go on Facebook. How many real estate groups are there? There's real estate group after real estate group after real estate group, right? You see it all the time. And type in the term wholesale, right? How many wholesale groups are out there? Or is it wholesaling probably? Okay, here's one. Wholesaling houses, ground zero. Okay, a ton of these things are out there, right? And buyers are attracted to these groups, okay? Actual cash buyers are attracted to these kind of groups. And you'll see it over here time and time and time again. If you scroll down in here far enough, it'll be like looking for a cash buyer in, XYZ zip code, blah, 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 or Atlanta, Georgia, or whatever it is. And the mistake that most people make when they talk about building what they call a buyer's list. Let's talk about what that is, so you guys can understand. If anybody has any questions, by the way, go ahead and load them up in the question box or comments on Facebook, so I can cover them while we're in here, because we're almost finished. But what ends up happening, what most people do is they do it incorrectly. So they'll go in here and they'll type in, looking for cash buyers in XYZ. Drop your email address below, okay, or DM me or something stupid like that. And this is before they have a deal, or possibly maybe even actually after they have what they think is a deal, where they haven't pre-qualified cash buyers. Now, what you want to do, if you're smart, is not waste time. Okay? Let me explain to you what I do. What you're going to get to see me do live, actually, is when I'm talking to a cash buyer, the very first thing that I'm going to do, I'm not interested in an email list that I can blast to. Okay? But you guys need to pay attention to this, okay? Because this crap that they teach you it's wrong. It's a relationship business, all right? What we're looking to do is we're looking to build solidified relationships with buyers that we can sell to consistently, all right? I mean, time after time after time after time. So in this arena, what I'm going to do, and I'll give you guys access to it, is I've got a whole workspace in Podio that's already built out that is designed to pre-qualify cash buyers on wholesale deals, right? And then we're simply going to go through and we're just going to ask the requisite questions, okay? I'll give you an example of what some of those questions are going to be. All right, Mr. Cash Buyer, tell me what your, perfect deal looks like, right? And then shut up and listen and write it down, okay? And enter the information into Podio. And the reason we're putting it into Podio is so that we can filter by selection, so that when you have an opportunity on something, you can tell very quickly who the buyer is going to be for that particular property, right? Based on their criteria, right? So they tell you what their perfect deal looks like. All right, what's the maximum purchase price that you'll look at? Okay, you got to know, right? How much, what's the max? You got to understand, what is the deal to them? That's the only thing that matters. Doesn't matter that you got something at 70% of after repair value if you can't move it, because nobody wants it, right? All right, locations, zip codes, tell me what a deal killer is. What is the total max volume? This is an important one that most people miss. Maximum volume that you can do on a monthly basis. In other words, how many deals can you handle on a monthly basis? If I find 10 deals for you in a month at $50,000 a piece, can you fund all 10 of them? Do you have that capacity, right? You need to understand this so you know what you're dealing with per individual buyer, what their capacity is going to be. Because what you're doing here, if you're smart, is you're looking for the ability to scale. So Facebook, absolutely fantastic source of cash buyers. You can go in and do these posts like this for free with your specific stuff to start developing a list, but don't just develop a list so that you can spam them a bunch of stuff. Okay. That's the worst thing in the world to do. I'm going to show you through the course of this how to put together an actual prospectus on a deal so that your deals always go to the top, because your information will not be, hey, it won't be like one of these little 5-liner things, which, I mean, if we scrolled fast enough or far enough, you'd be able to see in here where somebody's vomiting up limited details on a deal, and all it does is waste people's time. That's not who you want to be. What you want to do is you want to have things put together in a professional manner when you're presenting a deal, and I'm going to give you a template for that so that all of their questions are answered, okay? When you present the information to them in a prospectus format, there is nothing else they should have to ask you. All the information should be there. They should not have to pull teeth in order to do a deal. Now, the problem with most people is they're lazy, okay? Well, two things: uneducated, incompetent, and lazy. That's the problem with most people that are out there that are doing this. That's why you see them do all this stupid stuff that they do in these Facebook groups, okay? What you're trying to sell an investment deal. Okay, if you were like on Wall Street vomiting up that stuff, I mean, nobody in the right mind is going to take you seriously. So why would you expect a guy with cash to take you seriously if you're going to vomit stuff up on Facebook? You don't want to do it that way. So find the cash buyers in the markets that you're looking for, then pick up the phone, contact them, pre-qualify them, take them through all the pre-qual questions. So they have identified for you what a deal is, what their capacity is, their volume, how quickly they can close, where's the money coming from. In other words, is it their money? Is it coming from a line of credit? It's coming from an IRA? It's coming from a partner? You got to know all this information so that you can make fast moves, because time kills the deal. You want to make sure that you're not wasting time with somebody who doesn't have the control to get things closed out. Now, all of those guys are going to go into Podio, okay? There should not be anybody on your list that you have not personally spoken to and pre-qualified. Okay, this whole thing, I don't know who came up with this. Oh, I've got 4,000, cash buyers on an email list. It's pointless. It's a total waste of time. Okay, most of them aren't even looking at everything that you're sending them, because, like, why would they, right? The key here is to develop a personal relationship with these guys that you want to build a business with, build, a dynasty, a legacy with over a period of time. And you're never going to do that just by vomiting up stuff via spam and then giving them limited details, because they eventually get frustrated and fed up. It's just like anytime myself or Bill or Jonathan, Scott, we're trying to help somebody on a deal in one of the Facebook groups, and you got to beat out of them the information to try to help them. It gets old fast. So you guys are going to be a step above everybody else, and you're going to do it the right way. And the right way is to find the buyers and personally speak with them and pre-qualify them so you know exactly what their metrics are, okay? Once you have done that, it's not just Facebook. They're on Instagram, they're on Twitter, they're on LinkedIn, they're all over the place for free, okay? Once you have done that and you've got your solidified buyers list, and I would advise, honestly, depending on what market you're in, and the size of the market, preferably no less than 10 different people where you can, that one of them it's going to be a fit for. And Podio will tell you, because you can filter it down based on the metrics of that particular deal, exactly who it's perfect for, right? That way, when you go out there and you're in the marketplace and you're working to work on a deal, you already know it's a deal. The biggest problem that we see time and time and time again is that people are pitching what they think to be deals that are not deals. Okay? You need to understand that. You don't want to pitch what is not a deal. You don't want to contract on something that is not a deal. That's why you're going to talk to your buyers first, and you're going to get them pre-qualified. Okay? Most important thing that you can do. Seriously, literally, most important thing that you can do. Talk to them, develop a relationship, pre-qualify them, get their information, have them set up in Podio so that you can filter down to make sure that when you're analyzing a deal, guess what? You know exactly who it's going to. All right? Very, very simple. Okay? And so next up, step 3, order your marketing materials. And this is all stuff that should be done today, okay? Now, I'm going to preface this once again. I've already said this, but I'm going to say this once again, that you do not need, and I'm telling you as a professional, you do not need A to Z to do the three things that I just showed you. But these three things that I just showed you are your fastest path to making money. Okay? If your priority is making money, this is how you do it as quickly as humanly possible. Number one, determine your market. That should take you less than 30 seconds. Okay? Unless you're doing a bunch of local markets that you need to do some due diligence on, right? But if you know let me rephrase that. You're doing a bunch of virtual markets that you need to do your due diligence on. Okay? Other than that, for the average person, boom, 30 seconds, you know exactly what market you're going into. Okay? Find the cash buyers. Okay? And you don't stop on any of these things because of something else. In other words, what a lot of people like to do is they want to say, okay, sequentially, I got to find the cash buyers before I order the marketing. No, you don't. Okay? Marketing has nothing to do with your cash buyers, unless you can't find any, obviously, but that's not the case because there are houses everywhere. So you want to get whatever marketing you're going to be doing, you want to get it going today. And the reason for that is because most of the lead generation methods for the grassroots vanilla wholesale deals are going to be things that require money, number one, and time for printing. Okay, whether it's bandit signs or yellow letters or postcards or whatever you're doing, you got to go get probate lists, all these things. You want to get started on all this stuff today because it's going to take time. All right, and we're trying to get you to make money as quickly as humanly possible. Now, if you wait, which is what a lot of people do, until all the planets have aligned and there's constellations in the sky that say go go go, you're never going to get anywhere. You can't do that because all you're doing is pushing yourself further and further away from making money. If you follow these instructions, okay, you are on the fastest path to making cash from a wholesaling perspective. It doesn't matter at this point that you don't have buyers to order your marketing, okay? All you need is a bandit sign with a phone number, yellow letters, or whatever you guys are going to end up doing. We'll cover all this kind of stuff and what works best because there's all different types of things. A lot of stuff that's being sold out there you got to be very careful with because, basically everybody's doing the same thing and that's not what you want to do. That's not what you do in marketing. You don't do what everybody else is doing. You want to be completely different, original. You want to do something that's going to catch their attention, right? That's the whole point. So I'm just showing you right here the standard vanilla stuff that most people are doing, but we're going to get into, once we get into the course, we're going to get into some more intricacies on things that you can do that will differentiate you against any of your perceived quote unquote competition. Okay. But that's what you need to launch right now today until we get to the next tutorial. Now, the way this is set up, the beauty of this is that, okay, you pick your market out, you start, you take 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever, to start accumulating cash buyers, and you order your marketing today for whatever market you're going to go in while you're waiting, okay? While you're waiting on your marketing materials to arrive, okay, which is going to take some time, guess what you can be doing, okay? Now you can take time to learn all the minutia of the mail formula, contract clauses, pricing, how to price out your repairs, clearing titles, all of the other stuff that's associated with the actual wholesaling business, okay? What most of these things do is they want you to learn all this nonsense first before you take action to make money, okay? And all that's doing is pushing you further and further and further away from making money because the only way that you're going to make money, and here it is, it's as simple as it gets, is by talking to buyers and sellers, okay? That's it. That's the only way you're going to make money. You'll be talking to buyers and sellers. Well, how do we talk to buyers and sellers? Well, I just showed you how to find buyers, okay? In Craigslist, not Craigslist, but Facebook. And once you do one of those posts, those people come out of the woodworks, right? Now you got your business to do to get them pre-qualified, right? Now, from a marketing material standpoint, you got to get that stuff ordered now because once you've got the buyers in place, you know exactly what a deal is. The money's out there, okay? But you can't get it if you can't get in front of the sellers. Does that make sense? So that's why we're doing everything we can. We're putting you in front of buyers as quickly as possible, which is today, and sellers as quickly as possible, which is going to depend on what type of marketing you end up doing. Okay, but you got to get that stuff going immediately. Now, in the interim, the beauty of this particular kind of course is that if you stumble upon something that you don't know, which is going to happen, all right, the beauty of it is that you have the ability to get answers immediately. All right, so you're not out there kid solo flying alone and losing deals because you don't have the answer. You don't have all the answers. You're never going to have all the answers. So you cannot worry about that. The thing that you can control, and this is unbelievably important to understand, the thing that you can control is your ability to take action, all right? That's it. That's what you can control. You cannot control, unfortunately, the ability to know everything, because nobody does. I don't. Bill doesn't. Jonathan doesn't. None of us know everything, okay? And I'm not ashamed to say that. I've learned as much as I can possibly learn, and when I don't know something, you know what? I go to find an expert that does. So different than what you're doing here. So do I let those things stand in the way when I'm working on a deal? Absolutely not. I push forward regardless. Doesn't make a difference. And then, sometimes you have to learn along the way, right? Sometimes you got to build the ladder on the way up, right? Or build the plane on the way down, but you don't crash. That's how it works, unfortunately. And not unfortunately, that's the way it works sometimes in business. That's what you end up having to do. You're never going to know it all. But if you wait to try to know everything, you're never going to take action, and you're never going to make money. Key, most important thing that you can do today: determine your markets. Okay, like I'm telling you right now, if you're depending on what your work schedule and all that is, it's now almost 1:00 Eastern. Okay. If I were you guys, we'll know who the serious people are, assuming like you're not working a lunch break or something, you got to go back to work. If you have free time, as soon as this webinar ends and here in about a minute, then by 12:30, you should already be in contact. I'm sorry, not by 12:30, by 1:30 Eastern, you should already be in contact with multiple buyers using the method I just showed you, because I've never seen it once where you didn't post in group or multiple groups like that, and the email addresses and the DMs didn't just start coming bam, 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 bam. Because these guys are looking for deals too. But what they don't want is they don't want another piker, ham and egger, half-assing stuff, putting junk together and throwing it to them on an email list. What they want is an actual bona fide deal put together professionally using a prospectus, so they can analyze the whole thing and know exactly what they're doing, what they're getting themselves into, so that they can contract on the property with you. Okay, that's what they're looking for. The easier that you can make it for the buyer, the more business you will be doing. So you need to understand what I'm trying to convey to you here. You want your deals always at the top of the pile. And the way that you're going to be able to do that is by doing your work. Now, the beauty of what we have set up is that you'll be able to plug the information in to Podio and have it automatically dumped into a beautiful template of a prospectus, so that you put the information in, bam, it's going to create it for you automatically, right? That you can then email to them, or in a PDF format, or put up on a website, however you want to do it, so they can download it and take a look at it. And who do you know that's doing that? I don't know anybody, right? Has all the information all laid out, all the questions that they're going to ask already answered. That's what professional investors are looking for. And if you do that, when you do that, like I said, your deals are always going to go to the top of the pile. You're always going to get first pick, and you're going to close faster and have more business than any of your quote unquote competition. Okay. So unless anybody has any other questions, yeah. This is what I was trying to tell you about here. Analysis paralysis. This is what most people do, right? I don't want you doing that today. I want you to take action, okay? Determine your market. Go find those buyers now. Start getting it pre-qualified, and then get your marketing materials ordered for whatever markets you're going into. That's it. That's today. Now, once that's done, once all three of those things are done, then you're ready to move on to the next step. But until those three things are done, you're not ready, okay? There's no reason for you to see anything else until those three things are done. Because anything else, all it's going to do is waste your time. All it's going to do is push you further away from that check or the wire from the title company, okay? Or the check for the assignment fee, or wire for the assignment fee. Action takers are money makers, okay? You got to take action. I'm sure you guys hear that stuff all the time. All right? So that, my friends, is all I've got for today. If anybody has any other questions real quick, let me know. Other than that, that is step 1, 2, and 3. Once that's accomplished, this is about to be loaded up into the members area. And like I said, this is all progress based. So once you have gone through that, and once you have done those steps and confirm that you've done those steps, then you can be, let me rephrase it. Then we will, it'll automatically provide you with the next steps in the course. But this is very systematic on purpose, so that you don't waste time and you don't waste money, okay? Nothing more important right now than finding where your money's coming from, okay? Who's got my money? You guys have heard Grant Cardone say that. You've heard me say it. Who's got the money? That's where we got to find first. The money. Where is it? Okay. And then next step is, how do we get the money? Well, we're going to get the money by finding the sellers. Okay. And knowing actually what an actual deal actually looks like. And that's where most people fail. They don't even know what a deal is. So there you have it, my friends. Anybody that's interested, like I said, for those of you who stayed to the end and go to Webinar Analytics, tell me who stayed till the end. For those of you on Facebook, it will not tell me. But nonetheless, if it's something that you're interested in proceeding on moving forward, where you want action-oriented tutorial where you're going to get the exact steps that are necessary to turn your business into literally a 7-figure printing press, completely vertically integrated with multiple streams of income, I will honor yesterday's pricing through today. Okay? You can PM me, DM me, call me, whatever you want to do, and I'll get you the link to be able to pay for that. But other than that, we are finished for today. Hope it was beneficial. Hope you guys learned something. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Virtual Real Estate Investor Podcast with Vincent Polisi. If you found any value in this podcast, please use our Give to Get method and take a moment to give us a 5-star rating in iTunes and your favorite podcast service so we can keep giving you excellent episodes of real content you can use to profit today.